Hi, friends. Welcome. Today is Monday, and we are doing a review of informational text, and it is going to be about Thanksgiving, a little bit about some things about Thanksgiving. As we go through our lesson today, you may see things that are a little bit different than normal. I just am trying to help some of those glitches that we've been having with some of our videos. So, usually, this is where I would play the video to activate your schema. I'm actually going to download the entire PowerPoint so that you can get in there and you can click on it, and hopefully the sound will be better. So the last few days with our phonics, the sound hasn't been very well. And when we have practiced in the classroom with the Google Classroom, we noticed that if we click directly on my PowerPoint, it sounds a little better. So I'm going to go ahead and put the whole Google slide presentation in there. And then if you want to click on that to activate your schema first, or when I finish this video, you want to go back and watch it, it will be there for you, as well as the slides you can take a look at as well. I'm hoping that will be a little bit better, and you guys can give me some feedback on that to make sure that they sound better and it's working better. So we're going to go ahead and skip that, although it is a very good video so that you can see the pilgrim life with children long ago. It has some of their clothing and what they did during the day, a lot of things that you're going to notice that you don't do now. So it's a really good video to see how time was back then and how time is now, kind of doing that comparison. Today, for our learning target, it says I can find key details in a text, so I can ask and answer such questions as who, what, when, where, why, and how about the text. I will know I have it when I will write a key detail for each subheading. So we're going back to some of that note taking that we did a week or two ago. So just again, to get into our framework in our mind, the informational text can be about people, places, things, and animals. Today's heading in our text is Pilgrim Life Long Ago and A Pilgrim's Child's Life Long Ago. So what can we learn by reading that heading? Well, of course, we can learn both things. We're going to learn about life long ago, what it looked like, and what a pilgrim's child's life looked like a long time ago. We're also going to stop and think. So what do I do in this section where I stop and think? So I jot down a note. I highlight important sentences. I put a hint on there that we always take a note about a sentence that has bold words. So we check out, what is the vocabulary word? Can I say it? And what does it mean? Also, notice what you think is important. So you may have to have your journal that we sent home at the beginning of the year, and just jot down some things as you're reading that you see is important. Also, you could take notes of your wonderings. I wonder why the Pilgrim kids did this. I wonder why it was important for them to do this. And that could spark some interest and some research into the topic a little bit more on your own. Again, taking notes can be easy. You can do them on Post-it notes in your journals. If you still have your journals from when we sent those out before, or just a plain white piece of paper from the copier, you can jot a note down on anything. So I just wanted to show you again about jotting notes down. So I just took a paragraph from our passage called Pilgrim Food. Now I'm already thinking, okay, this is going to tell me what kind of food that they have. And maybe as we go through that passage, it may. This particular part of the passage is not, but it is going to have a bold word. So we are going to want to focus on that. So it says, the first thing you need to do is get some water to drink. And you and your brother will go down to the river to fetch buckets of water. So how many of you have heard fetch before? I have heard fetch. In fact, as a kid, I used to go fetch buckets of water. Actually, they were jugs of water. So my grandparents lived in Jellicoe, Tennessee. That is the very last city at the base of the mountain before you climb Jellicoe Mountain to go into Gatlinburg or Tennessee if you're going on vacation. And so what we would do is on the weekends when we would go visit, there would be a stream that would come down the mountain, and there would be a pool at the end of the stream. And we would take old milk jugs that we had rinsed out, and we would go get that crisp, cool water. Who knew back then that we would have bottled water? We did not have bottled water back then like you drink in the classroom. We had water just out of the faucet that we would put in our cup. We didn't even really have water bottles, like the reusable bottles. We would just drink it out of a cup out of the sink. But this was a treat because we would be able to go get that jug of water, fill that up, and it would be so cold. So cold. So my grandpa, which I called him Papaw, every time we would go, he would always take cups. And so we would drink this water while we were collecting it because it tasted so good. And then we would fill that jug back up, and we would take 3 or 4 jugs back to the house that was a few miles away for a drive. So I do have some schema for collecting this. So fetching means to go get. So they're going to go out and they're going to collect buckets of water. So I just jotted down that quick little note to remind me what fetch means, and then I can move on. So today for our guided practice, you're going to notice that I have a think sheet. And if you look right here on your screen, this is your zoom button. So I had some students who said, I just can't see things really good on there when they're small. So you can hit that and you can take that down or you can take that up. And if you take that up, then you can kind of scroll it back and forth just to kind of help you to be able to see that. So if you get to the point on your independent practice that it looks small like that, then go up here and click to 100 and you will be able to see it much better. Okay, the only thing is you just want to make sure you're not going too far up where you really can't see it and you're just playing with it and not getting your work done. 100 should be plenty, I think, if you do sections at a time. So it says right here, it says read Pilgrim Food, then stop. So I'm going to read Pilgrim Food to you, and then we're going to talk about the question, what is one thing pilgrims ate a long time ago? So keep that in your mind as we read. So here's the first part of our passage, and it says, this girl is dressed as a pilgrim. The Pilgrims came to North America in 1620. And here's my heading, Pilgrim Life Long Ago. And under that, it says, imagine you could go back in time. Here's what a day might have been like if you were a pilgrim child 400 years ago. So we're going to look at a pilgrim life long ago. And it says, cock-a-doodle-doo, a rooster is crowing. It wakes you up early in the morning. You're still a little sleepy, but you get up. Your mom says it's time to break the fast. That means it's time for breakfast. Pilgrim Food, the first thing you need to do is to get some water to drink. You and your brother go down to the river to fetch buckets of water. And then let's go to the next part in your independent practice, and let's look at that for a second. They are really heavy, but they are thirsty, so they don't complain too much about carrying them, and you're going to get to see that in the video that you pull up in a bit. When you get back, you wash your hands and face in the bowl of water. It's important to be clean before a meal. Finally, it's time to eat. You have a breakfast of fish and bread. That's a little different than what we have. The fish is cold, but it's fresh. Your father caught it 2 days ago. So our question said, what did they eat a long time ago? So they ate what? Fresh fish for breakfast. Yes, they did. Okay, now let's take a look for just a second about pilgrim chores. It says, after you eat, it's time to start your chores. Do some of you guys have chores? I give my kiddos some chores. Pilgrim kids helped with chores, just like kids do today. Boys helped with farming. They picked corn and squash. They also helped fish and hunt. Girls helped to sew. Look at that word, SEW. Sew, cook, and take care of the garden. So this is not the SOW, like I'm going to sow out the seed of corn. This is the SEW, like I'm going to sew my garment, my pants, my shirt. Boys and girls gathered seafood from the seashore. Sometimes they saw kids there doing the same thing. So look at this. This kind of gives you the way that it sounds. So the wam is at the beginning, then pa, wampa, nog, wampanog. Kids are doing the same thing. So our question says, during pilgrim chores, what is one chore that the pilgrim kids or children did? So the girls sewed and the boys helped with farming. All right, so we have that on there. All right, and what I'm going to do is stop on this part of the questions because today for independent practice, you are going to read this. So I want you to read this part again. I have read up until here, but I want you to refresh your memory and read that for yourself, as well as Pilgrim Games, the word mouser, and Pilgrim Bedtime. I want you to read that. Now, you do not have to go back and answer these before thinking questions. Those were just to guide our thinking as we were going through independent practice. All you will have to do is click on your sheet, and this is just questions about the passage to see if you understand those. Now, when you pull up your independent practice today from your Google Classroom, if you'll click down here, I'm pretty sure I put it down here. I'm trying to remember. The first one may be up here, but if you click here or here, I have added a text box, and you can actually type which letter you choose for your answer. You're not going to be able to color that in. So you can type the answer, unless Miss Cardin can give me some tips on how to get that colored in. I just have the text box there. So click over here on each question kind of at the end, and that box will show up, and you'll be able to type the letter of the answer that you want when you go into your independent practice. Also, on your independent practice, you're going to see this sheet, which is the map. Now, you may need to blow up your map a little bit, and you might have to slide this bar over a little bit, and you might have to slide this one up just to be able to look at everything that's on that map. If you need to, that's fine. And then you're also going to answer these questions about the map. And I have inserted a text box in front of each of these circles. So if you want to, you can click on whichever text box is the answer and type in an X on your keyboard and mark that as your answer. And then when you send that to me, I'll be able to see that. Okay? Also, make sure you share that to me. So when you're finished with the independent practice, now, not just the blank Google slide where you can watch the video, and I'm going to label them. It'll be blank Google slides, watch the video, and then it'll be Mrs. Steck's video, and then it'll be independent practice. The independent practice is all you'll need to share with me, okay? Just to refresh your memory. That's how we did it before, but I know it's been a little bit, so just to make sure that you know that. All right, so you guys have fun learning about Pilgrim kids, Pilgrim children long ago. I think you're really going to enjoy that. Today, in order to make mastery, I had to be able to write a key detail from a subheading. And also, we wanted to be able to answer and ask questions. So even though you didn't have to write the key detail, Mrs. Steck did that with you. You will be answering who, what, when, where, why questions on your passage today. All right, you guys have a great time. and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye, guys.